What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Out of the Basement. Today, Connor makes his annual return.
Woo!
Yeah! Of course, I'm Nate. I'm joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
And Steven.
Howdy.
And of course, Connor.
Seasonal employee.
He's a seasonal employee. You know, he's a published author. He's busy writing books and stuff. Today, we are discussing Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 2, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This is going to be a spoiler discussion, so full spoilers ahead. We're not beating around the bush. If you haven't seen the episode, go watch it, come back, and then check out our discussion.
Can't believe Dany died.
Unbelievable. Right off the bat.
Yeah. Episode 2.
They just stab her in the face, and that's it.
It was really gratuitous.
So this episode really wastes no time jumping straight into the story. We see Jaime has arrived at Winterfell, and he's instantly in their little courtroom. I don't know what to...
I like seeing all the Northern Bannermen behind him,
just standing there ready to kill him. And of course, they have a little back and forth of what they should do with him. And of course, it's revealed that Cersei does not, or is not, providing an army for them. I'm glad that they got that out of the way, and that there wasn't any mystery surrounding that of whether she will or won't show up, and that Jaime kind of spills the beans. I definitely enjoyed that because I was thinking that he was going to kind of not say anything, maybe to like protect himself a little bit more.
Well, it's kind of funny, like Jaime. It's kind of like the recurring thing of Jaime, right? Like whenever he does the right thing, he's kind of fucked for it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he protected Brienne back then. He lost his hand. Here, he's being forthcoming and honest. Hey, the army's not coming. We're not getting help. And it's like, he's basically at trial. He's kind of screwed.
Yeah. Which, I am also glad that it was quickly resolved.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of thinking, like, oh, here we go. He's going to get, like, locked in a jail cell. They're going to have, like, a big argument about it. So I was happy that, for the sake of time that we have left for Game of Thrones, that Brienne instantly stuck up for him, then Sansa sided with him, and that we were just able to...
And Jon was just like, dude, we need every man.
That's obviously the theme going here, is that like the past is kind of forgiven to a certain degree, because I feel like if Bran would have been like, yeah, he crippled me also, maybe that would have been they would have been a little more harsh towards Jaime. But...
Well, yeah, when Jaime and Bran talk about it later, Bran's like, it's like, what? It's like me tell him and then just kill you?
Yeah, I almost didn't think Bran was going to remember. I had that thought that he still to this day wasn't going to know what had happened to him, but I did like the things we say for love.
Yeah. But it's not even Bran anymore.
Things we do
right.
for love.
Yeah. Whatever.
I do love how that kind of, the way that puts Tyrion and Dany at odds a bit. He's in the doghouse in this episode.
Yeah.
And what I found most interesting about that is if you go back to when Tyrion has that heart-to-heart with Cersei where she promises to send the army, he talks about how Dany, chose a hand who would check her worst impulses and not feed them. And you kind of, watching this episode, you see Dany is kind of like regretting that idea.
Yeah.
And is kind of like, that comes into question.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think it's too late in the show for because he makes that comment towards Jorah and Varys where he's like one of you is gonna be wearing the Hand of the Kingpin soon enough, but I think it's too late in the series to really worry about any of that. And then Jon is obviously in the last episode Jon finally found out who he was. In this episode, he's kind of been like.
He's in that moment where
he's doing one of these to Dany.
You gotta break up with someone, but you don't want to deal with it yet, so you're like, my lady.
He's just like, get me out of here.
Yes.
But I did enjoy the pacing of this episode overall, just how quickly problems are arising, but they're also getting resolved right away, because I feel like. And I feel like this might be a little bit of a bold prediction, but I feel like the battle with the Night King is literally going to be the next episode, and that's all it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be instantly starts the beginning of the battle is the first minute of the episode, And then by the end of the episode, the Night King is going to be defeated and or something like that is going to happen. Just because it seems like they are setting up a conflict between Cersei and whoever, the Gold Company at King's Landing.
We need dragons versus elephants.
We need it. I want to see a dragon pick up an elephant. But I feel like we're not going to see any elephants. And I feel like they kind of made a joke about there not being any elephants, because I would assume of the CG budget that they have to spend on the episodes, they're probably spending it all on the dragons and the Night King and all of the White Walkers. So I really do feel like them verbally making the joke of like, there's no elephants is like the showrunners actually saying, yeah, sorry, there's no.
But at the same time, it is a believable explanation of why they wouldn't like have giant elephants in
Could
ships.
you imagine trying to put an elephant on a giant wooden ship, sailing it across the sea?
Yeah.
And for no reason, just a show of power.
Yeah, because it's not like elephants are like combat animals.
I mean, elephants think that humans are cute the way we think puppies are cute.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I mean, I'd let an elephant pet me with a little tusk thing.
Mr. Tusk.
Mr. Tusk.
So, well, we went back to sort of, it's funny, like, ever since the show has went off the books, people have complained about sort of the pacing, getting rid of those small character moments.
Yeah.
And we really, these last 2 episodes have been like, hey, there are 6 left, we're dedicating 2 to just that.
Mm-hmm. Which I appreciate. I appreciate that it's not just jump straight into the action.
Yeah.
Let's just go. Even though listening to that video from way back in the day, that old school Out of the Basement video, I was totally like, yeah, the last season just better all be action. And like now that I'm at this point though, I'm like, I'm glad that we're still getting some character focus this late in the series. Which brings us to a pretty awesome moment that happens later in the episode, and that is Brienne finally becomes a knight. I won't lie to you guys, I straight up shed a single tear. It was such a...
It was a feel-good moment.
I mean, she was acting her ass off in that scene.
Yeah, and like finally seeing her like through everything that Brienne's gone through, she cracks like that big wide smile.
Yeah.
I was just like I just felt the tear rolling down my cheek, and like Jaime knighting her at the same time too.
That is a wonderful, like, she has a wonderful arc. And you can imagine, like, in her situation, like, in that reality, being like a woman who's like only ever wanted to be a knight.
Yeah, but
beautiful moment.
But of course, and she mentions like how, Tormund and her kind of have like a little back and forth, and he's like, well, why aren't you a knight? And she's like, tradition.
Fuck tradition.
Yeah.
And Tormund's got, I'd knight you 10 times over.
Yeah. So, like, going against tradition is kind of like a theme of the later seasons. Like, wildlings are past the wall, and it's just okay. Like, there's no knights.
The bastard king of the north.
Yeah.
Lannisters and Starks coexisting at Winterfell.
Yeah. Them defending Winterfell, too. Yeah. The Lannisters actually going to defend the Winterfell, but... Yeah, I really liked the Brienne moment. I wasn't expecting it to be so touching, but for whatever reason, I was just like, who's cutting onions up in this?
In that group of characters in a room, it's just, because you have, I don't know, it was just awesome. Yeah. That's really all I can say.
It was a great moment. I really liked when Pod was getting the half cup of wine, and then Tyrion's just like, freaking overflowing and everything.
Tyrion reminded me severely of my grandmother in that moment.
But yeah, that was a really great character moment between all of those characters all sitting together. I really liked that aspect of this episode, like all of the characters. We kind of got to see everyone, especially at the end with like the narration. Or not narration, but Podrick singing, where we kind of see everyone kind of sharing like a last moment.
Who knew he had that voice?
Dude, he was wailing.
Right?
I was like...
He's a jack of all trades.
That is true. I do like Pod looks so gritty now.
Yeah, he's got the mustache.
Even though he doesn't say much in the episode, he just got that look on his face. He's like, I'm badass now.
Yeah.
And I know it.
But I feel like we're getting all of these moments just for at least the next episode to be a complete soul crusher.
Yeah.
Like, I have a strong feeling a lot of the B characters are going to bite the dust. Like, I could see Pod going. I could see, like, someone like Grey Worm going.
Yeah, because they have their romantic moment.
Yep. It's like, all of these certain characters, like the B characters, like Beric, like, I just feel like they're all going next episode, or at least a couple of them are going to go. I don't know if I'm ready for
This
it.
episode reminded me a lot of the episode before the Red Wedding and like the beginning of that episode of the Red Wedding, where it's like all these feel-good moments are happening, and like, we're gonna name him Edit Stuff. We're gonna teach him to ride horses. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then 5 seconds later, you're like, my God.
That though is one of those moments. It's like the whole thing of like, oh, I hope Daddy comes home so I can tell him how much I love him. Like, you know, shit's about to go down. But okay, so I've got to say though, we didn't get to see the conversation, but when Tyrion and Bran are alone and talking, and Tyrion's trying to get some more information, I hope we find out what was said, and I hope it comes into play big time next week.
Like Tyrion's possibly gonna have like the like trump card to defeat the Night King from Bran, because it is kind of frustrating in a way how like cryptic Bran is being, instead of just being like, hey, let's do this.
Like,
He will
I
definitely
can
come
see
from
everything happening as it's happening.
But I'm just gonna not say anything.
I mean, he would be really overpowered if he...
Right.
If,
No, like,
if that's how it went
Maybe
down.
he's adhering to the butterfly effect. He's like, I can only give you so much because I don't want to...
Because otherwise, yeah, I mean, that could be
Or,
true.
I mean, we've been making weird analogies to Avengers this whole time, but maybe it's like, there, kind of like how Doctor Strange only saw one reality of them winning. So, like, Bran is purposely leaving out some information because that's how they'll end up winning, or, you know, something like that.
Or he sees the realities of him telling them, like, everything, and he's like, ooh, that's not a good one to pick. I'll choose this reality where I'm an epic gamer.
He doesn't want to tell him because he's the Night King.
So that happened. We also had, following last week's whole thing of, where Jorah kind of introduces Dany to Sam, and it's like, oh, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
That's not how I wanted that to go. But you follow that up with Sam giving Jorah his family's sword, the Valyrian steel, which was kind of a great, we have the episode where Jon tries to give Longclaw back, and Jorah's like, no, my father wanted you to have that. And here we saw kind of some balance to that.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, I'd love to defend him with it, but I can't hold it upright.
That was right after a nice little Mormont reunion.
Yes, which was one of my favorite moments. I mean, she is one of my favorite characters, by far. Lady Mormont. So that was cool. The big controversy of this episode, though, was that Arya did it.
She did it. She did him.
Yeah.
We joked about it last week, and then this week it actually happened.
Yeah.
And I'll say right out of the gate, extremely awkward moment. Don't really feel like it was necessary. Kind of, to me, felt like that was out of Arya's character. Like, at no point in the series has she ever been put in a position like that, but then just out of nowhere, she's just like, oh.
I don't know. I didn't think it was out of character because the way she went about it. I think that was perfect.
Because the reasoning, like, we're all about to die, so might as well.
But I just feel like that's never been something that Arya was interested in. Obviously, she was a little girl for half of the show, but I don't know. It just felt really weird to me. And to me, like, I feel like Arya wouldn't be a person that would care one way or another. Just because she's never had any sort of love interest at all in the entire series.
Yeah, but now it's down to the wire. Everyone's about to die, presumably.
I understand that. It just still felt so, to me, it just felt like out of character. And then it was also like watching your little sister make out with some dude in front of you and get naked, just because, like, we've literally watched Maisie Williams grow up on screen.
True.
And she's still, even though she's in her 20s, looks incredibly young. And to me, I was just kind of like, this is a straight up weird, awkward scene.
I had a hint of awkwardness at first, as I think most people probably did, but at the same time, she is in her 20s now, and I think it's not insulting to her, but it's not, I don't think it's good to, like, hold someone to that standard of, like, you can never do this.
Yeah, everybody else fucks on the show, so...
Yeah, I mean, and I think
Why not?
we were talking about it earlier. In the context of the show, she's 18 and Gendry's, like, in his early 20s, and then in real life, she's 22 and he's, like, 31. Like, I was just, whatever.
Yeah, I mean...
But there's actual controversy. around it.
Oh,
like,
there really
like
is.
Not like your opinion of like that was out of her character. I would say that's like a valid criticism that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's still like I can see why you would think that. But there are people saying it's like, oh, I have to close my eyes so I don't go to jail, like thinking that she's like a minor.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
stuff like that.
I didn't hear or see anything about that, so I'm ignorant.
Or like they think like Game of Thrones promotes like child porn and like there's some weird stuff going on.
I mean, I think it's very obvious in the show and obviously in real life that she is of age. So obviously it would 110% be illegal to show a minor nude on TV.
And the creators gave her like full creative power of that scene to reveal or not reveal. Like you have 100% power of what you want to do for that scene.
Well, at least she wasn't like forced to do something that she didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was controversy, but yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of unearned. Also, in like the love interest aspect, like Gendry, I feel like Gendry also never sent any signals her way, but then just these random past.
I mean, they have history together.
They do.
I would have to rewatch to see if there's any kind of itty bitty romantic.
I think the urgency of the situation completely trumps them earning it, or just like her not having any interest before. And that it just seemed to be right place, right time, urgent matter.
She wanted to do that. She was comfortable with him,
and she put his ass to sleep.
Should have went to Podrick.
There you go.
She wasn't ready for Podrick.
But I don't know. I just felt like it was just kind of like a cheap moment.
What do you think?
But so I mean, we're in the middle of this. We're, the end is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in the middle of that, we have to have Jon tell Dany.
Yes.
In the crypt at Lyanna Stark's grave. How do you guys feel about the timing of that?
I mean, he had to do it at some point, and I don't think that there is any better time than to just be like, hey, just so you know, like...
I'm your nephew.
Yeah, this is a thing. What interests me about that scene is how it's going to play out. Because she very obviously kind of switches her emotions. And like earlier in the episode, her and Sansa have that heart-to-heart. And she's like, I love Jon, this and that. Which also I feel like is kind of an unearned romantic interest for them to just be dropping big love bombs on each other.
Really based on the fact that it's two very attractive actors.
Yeah. And just pretty much, to me, the showrunners were just like, romantic interest. Like, I just feel like Game of Thrones as a whole has never really been like a love story. Like, there's elements of that, but like, in a way, it seems like Jon and Dany's love really took, at least in these past 2 episodes, took like a big jump forward, and like that's like the forefront of what's going on, at least in these last 2 episodes.
You gotta warn your queen.
Yeah.
Well, it is a song of fire and ice.
Which could be just referencing Jon.
If you're referring to, like, Daenerys talking to Sansa,
Mm-hmm.
because I think Daenerys was also kind of fibbing with some of the stuff she was saying, because when she was like, who's manipulating who, she was like, I'm here because I love your brother, and that's the only reason
But Sansa was having
that's not the
none
only
of it.
reason she's there.
I guess I just didn't really pick up on that, but I thought... but anyways, going back to the Jon and Dany thing, I feel like there's going to be some conflict between both of them, and I'm locking it in right now. This is Nate's prediction of the final series. Jon's killing Dany in some poetic kind of way.
Split screen finale. Jon kills Dany. Jaime kills Cersei.
And then Jon...
He's the hand.
And then Jon and Jaime rule the 7 kingdoms.
Ironically, Jaime being the hand to the king.
Yeah. And because also, I mean, I keep flipping back and forth, but the Sansa and Dany scene, obviously Dany is still very reluctant. Like, Sansa's like, hey, we took the North back on our own. Like, this place should be ours. And she was still like...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, bro.
I do think Daenerys is a little greedy.
Yeah.
And I don't think she would be willing to give up her position. Jon has like an actual claim.
She's definitely showing more of those like hot-headed Targaryen stubborn traits.
But like at the same time, like we've been following her since season 1, and like her arc of rising to power has been so good. It's like she's been so far.
Yeah. But I just don't feel like
they can rule together.
I mean, that's another thing I don't understand. Like, why not just have the North? Like, there's nothing there. There's no really, really good, valuable resources that the people in, like, the southern side would want. Like, they can be two separate kingdoms. They can be two separate kingdoms.
I mean, Sam put it best, right? When he said to Jon, like, you know, yeah, you gave up your crown for the good of the people. Would she do the same?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly fucking no.
Yeah.
At least at this moment.
Yeah. And they could pull the rug out from under us.
And I mean, to be fair, like, would you really believe Jon if it's just word of mouth, really?
Yeah, I mean, skepticism, I get it.
That is the other issue, too.
They don't have the internet in Westeros.
And no one, like, most people don't understand what Bran is or what his power set is within the terms of the show. So, obviously, there's going to be plenty of doubt there. But at least if I was in, like, Dany's shoes, I would be like, why would Jon even bother making something up like this to me? So I feel like she's going to accept it as fact. But, and also in that way, I think now she's thinking that he's going to want a claim to the throne. But I don't think Jon is going to want a claim to the throne because he very obviously gave up his King of the North status pretty quickly, gave up his Lord Commander of the Night's Watch pretty quickly. Like, he gives up his positions of power because he doesn't want to be that person.
And then gets more power.
And then, yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't think he's going to have, I don't think he's going to challenge her, but I think something is going to happen where either he or someone has to kill Dany. Like, maybe she snaps.
Yeah, maybe she just does have too much of her father in her.
Yeah. Or the dragons show up to King's Landing, blow up the Iron Throne, and they make a new one. That's a 2-seater.
Or maybe Tyrion kills Dany.
Yeah.
And it's like poetry.
What if Bronn kills Dany with the crossbow?
That wouldn't be as satisfying, but I think maybe you can cut this part out. But maybe Tyrion, just like Jaime had to kill the Mad King, Tyrion has to kill the Mad Queen.
I kind of like that.
I don't hate it.
So, one thing I was thinking
Am I locking it in, though?
You're locking it in. Steve,
Fuck it. I'm locking it in.
We're keeping that in.
Yeah.
Anyways.
One thing I was thinking about throughout these 2 episodes is that everyone kind of accepts, like, oh, we're all going to die. Like, everyone seems to be pretty certain that they're going to die. And I started thinking, like, what are the numbers of, like, our defenses here? So, like, I'm not really understanding the ratio between the defending of Winterfell, like how many people do they really have, and then how many people does the Night King have, or Whites.
Yeah.
So I like made a list. Okay, they have all of the Dothraki, like all of it, which is like literally hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
You have the Unsullied, of course. You have the Northern Banners, like the Stark soldiers. You have the Knights of the Vale, because that guy is still walking around in a scene or two.
Royce or whatever
you
his
have,
name is.
like, all of the wildlings, and then you have 2 dragons. So I'm kind of like, they kind of have a lot of soldiers.
They do, but I think they, because they make a point to say it in this episode that they're pretty much going to have to attack the White Walkers so that they can kill large majorities of the undead. Because obviously it was established that they're linked somehow by who's turned who. So I feel like they put that in there because I think we're supposed to imagine that the army of the dead is like an unfathomable number of people.
I think they're missing one key ingredient. Ash Williams.
You want to kill an army of the dead.
I know a guy.
He shows up with the Oldsmobile with the big helicopter blade on it. Yeah, baby.
Dragon glass.
He just shows up in the middle of the commons of Winterfell and goes shoots the gun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be down.
Honey, you got real ugly.
And then Henry the Red shows up, and then it just turns into a Game of Thrones Army of Darkness crossover, and we're all happy.
I'd read that comic.
Right? That would be
I mean,
awesome.
it works.
So that's pretty much. I mean,
We didn't talk about the hilarious Tormund scene.
Out of place comedy. There seems to be one big out of place comedy joke these 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The one being the dragon just staring back at Jon, and then he stares back, and then it's still staring back at him. It's just a little wonky.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one with the milk thing, like,
Yeah, I love Tormund, and I thought the milk joke was funny when
Agreed.
he first dropped it, and then when he drank it, I thought, oh, he's just going to take a swig. But then he just pours it all over himself. I was like, okay, I get it, he's a wildling, he lacks manners, but I was just like, it's too slapsticky.
yeah.
Like, it's so, like,
When did Game of Thrones get so jokey?
yeah, look, I like jokes.
Yeah.
I like jokes that are funny.
These are kind
But pouring milk all over himself,
It's kind of like lowest common denominator humor
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones, which up until a point was definitely not a show for everyone.
I can't see too good. Is that Big Bang Theory on TV?
I mean, in a way, it's very much like
a little more casual.
Game of Thrones has definitely gotten stupider, or like that's a poor explanation. It's
I like that stupider is not a word.
yeah. Game of Thrones has gotten dumbed down.
hit the like button
I
if you
would
think
say,
it's also
I would
stupider.
say it's gotten normalized.
Yeah, it's
I think the Walking Dead fans are finally leaving Walking Dead and coming to Game of Thrones. I think there is a...
Because of zombies?
hold the phone, Justin. Walking Dead is better than it's ever been. The Whisperers.
yeah.
I see comments. like that.
But that used to be like the fan war was
Yeah.
Walking Dead fans versus Game of Thrones fans, and everyone's saying Game of Thrones is super boring and yada yada because there's no action.
Yeah.
And I mean that's why I do enjoy these 2 episodes because it's almost 100% character driven dialogue.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, with the last couple of seasons, I do think it is a little more casual, a little more normalized.
You know me. I like a craft beer. I like a craft story.
Oh, God. I want to kill you.
That's what I was going for.
All right. So let's wrap this up. Final thoughts on the episode. Justin, got anything?
Oh, I really, really liked this episode. I would say I probably liked it more than the previous episode. Really, really enjoyed both of the episodes. I just love seeing all these characters that you would never think would be on screen together and interacting together. I mean, seeing Jaime and Bran interact after all this time. Literally season 1, episode 1.
This was the last time they had any interaction.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's other examples, too. But I'm definitely very interested. The gang's all here.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to defend Winterfell. Can't wait for next Sunday. Or this Sunday.
Yep. True. It's going to be a good time for sure. Steve, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is I really liked this episode, and I liked it more than I was anticipating, because after the episode 1, I was like, okay, everybody's pretty much back. Everybody's pretty much acquainted, and we've got our greetings and stuff. I was like, next episode they're probably going to kick it into overdrive, and we're going to just go straight for it. But they surprised me in having an episode full of nothing but character moments, and I loved it. I loved. We didn't talk about the reuniting of Jon and his Night's Watch.
Yeah. I forget what his name is, too.
When the hug got intercepted.
Yeah.
Again, Tormund is now just a character used for humor.
I liked when they were shitting on Samwell, too.
Yeah,
Like, if you want to go in the crypts, to protect Gilly. I like that. But anyways, I like that they didn't just swan dive headfirst into the
battle.
Mm-hmm. So that was a pleasant surprise. Again, only real complaint I had was the pouring of milk. Otherwise, I still love Tormund. He's one of my favorites. So, again, loved it. I thought it was a great episode.
Cool. Connor, final thoughts?
I'm just bracing myself. I mean, I'm all in. I loved this episode. Again, it felt like a return to form in the sense of just those character moments, and really, it's kind of one of those things. It reminds you of like just what the stakes are with what will probably be next week. So yeah, just brace myself for. I'm sure next
death.
week is gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm sure next week is gonna be a fucking rough one.
Probably have to get the tissues out for next week.
Yeah.
I pretty much echo what you guys are saying. I did enjoy the episode. I also would agree with you, Justin. I think it is slightly better than the first episode, just because of all of the awesome character moments, and especially the scene around the fireplace, barring the stupid milk joke. I thought it was a very lovely scene, everything that happened throughout the episode with them sitting around the fire. So that's it. That was our discussion for Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 2, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Of course, referencing Brienne finally becoming a knight, if you didn't catch on to that. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We are going to be doing these every single week, talking about all the episodes of Game of Thrones until the series is over, and then we all have a good cry together.
That's not that many videos.
No, it's not. It's not. Only 4 more episodes remain of the entire series. We're down to the wire. Hopefully these last 4 episodes are a banger. Of course, turn on those notifications so you know when we are uploading these videos. Ring the bell. I'm Nate. I've been joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
And Steven.
Take care.
And Connor.
It's been real.
And we will see you guys next time on Out of the Basement.